Jingai Musume 135, Enhancing Zayin. Editors, Joker, Speed Phoenix. Alright, you ready, Annie? Anytime. The blade seemed nervous. Her voice was filled with an unusual stiffness. I moved forward with my plans nonetheless and pressed the item in my hand against her blade. She made the kind of sound a kid would when getting a shot as the thing I was holding integrated itself into her body. I analyzed her the moment it vanished in order to check her stats. General information. Name, Zayin. Race, magic weapon. Quality, immeasurable. Attack, 962. Durability: 1190. MP, 831. Unique skills: telepathy, vampirism. Skills: Crimson Blaze 4, Self-Repair 3, Personification 3, Wind Magic Eye. Titles: Intelligent Weapon, Dragon Slayer. Looks like it worked, I said with a satisfied nod. So, how do you feel? Anything seem off at all? No, I'm fine. Her words came with a surge of happiness. It seemed that she too could tell that she had gotten stronger and was happy with the result. I'm glad that went as well as it did. Zayin's attack and durability had both basically doubled since I last checked. The changes stemmed from a pair of reasons. The first was that she had drunk a significant amount of the Retard Lord's blood, and the second was due to the action that I had quite literally just taken, strengthening her by merging her blade with one of Leffy's fangs. Weapon transmutation used to come with a clause that stated that I could only ever transmute something once. Leveling the skill had caused that part of its description to change. It was now capable of performing the act up to twice on any individual piece of gear, and as Zayin was my main weapon, I immediately settled on boosting her stats with the most powerful materials I had on hand. As usual, Leffy never failed to disappoint. Merging her fang with Zayin's blade had made the sword noticeably sharper. Annie's stats weren't the only thing that had changed about her either. Defeating Leffy's mentally deficient acquaintance had led her to obtain a new title. Analyzing it provided the following description. Dragon Slayer. This weapon is especially effective against dragons. It is capable of rending their flesh, shredding their scales, and depriving them of their lives. All dragons are left vulnerable before its blade. None may defend against it. All stats are increased by 50% when in combat against a dragon. Though violent encounters with dragons didn't exactly fall into the realm of normal, I had the sneaking suspicion that Annie's Dragon Slayer title was going to prove useful in the future regardless. I had, for some godforsaken reason, ended up as the king of dragons, so I figured I was probably going to get involved with them eventually, one way or another. Well, Ms. Dragon Slayer, I'll be counting on you whenever the inevitable decides to rear its ugly head. Despite the fact that the skill quite literally said that all were left vulnerable before Annie's blade, she still couldn't cut through Leffy's scales. They were just that tough. But how? It literally says. Oh whatever. Another thing that Annie had gained was the ability to cast wind magic. Unlike Crimson Blaze, her newfound aptitude for spell slinging didn't stem from a magic circuit. It was simply something she had learned through the use of a skill scroll. You know, I'm almost starting to think that Annie being able to use skill scrolls basically deprecates her magic circuits. I still wanted to fill the last 2 magic circuit slots she had, of course. However, I hadn't done so just yet. I wanted to wait until I finished grinding enchant all the way to its maximum level in order to see exactly what it unlocked before making my decision. Active abilities seemed nice and all, but they weren't exactly what I would call cost-effective. They burned far too much mana in order to achieve their effects. That was why I was instead looking for something that would passively support me. Ideally, I wanted something that would enhance either my physical or magical strikes. As far as I could tell, that seemed to be the kind of thing that enchant would probably provide me with, as it had already unlocked several similar circuits. For example, there was one that provided whatever it was carved on with passive poison damage. Of course, one of the first things I did when considering magic circuits was to ask the resident expert, but unfortunately, it turned out that support magic lay outside Layla's field of expertise. She told me that she could probably figure something out, but that it would take quite a bit of time. I didn't really feel like putting her through all the trouble, so I decided to just call it off. Actually, now that I think about it, why don't I just dump all my skill points into enchant and call it a day? You know what? Might as well. Skill points exist to be used. After all, there's honestly not that much of a point in holding on to them. With my decision made, I opened up the menu and dumped my points into the skill, thereby taking it all the way from level 5 to 10 on the spot. The first 3 magic circuits unlocked by the skill were Bursting Embers, Inferno Blizzard, and Nightmare. They were interesting, but I decided to ignore them for the time being. They were active spells, and I wasn't all that keen on turning my primary weapon into a monosync. Might work well on a sidearm though. Of all the magic circuits I had, the ones unlocked at levels 8, 9, and 10 were the most eye-catching. They were more or less the exact things I had been looking for. They enhanced magical prowess, physical attack power, and regeneration respectively. To top it all off, all 3 of the circuits were the most powerful versions of their respective enchantments. Alright Annie, you ready for your new magic circuits? MHM. I pressed the palm of my hand against her blade, activated enchant, and carved 2 of the 3 effects into her magic circuit slots. Doing so added a new category to her character sheet. General information. Name, Zayin. Race, magic weapon. Quality, immeasurable. Attack, 962. Durability: 1190. MP, 831. Unique skills: telepathy, vampirism. Skills: Crimson Blaze 4, Self-Repair 3, Personification 3, Wind Magic Eye. Titles: Intelligent Weapon, Dragon Slayer. Special effects: Magical Prowess boost to the highest order, Physical Attack boost to the highest order. Hey, sweet. Looks like little Ms. Annie here is getting hella strong. Annie was no longer the only weapon whose stats I could see. Maxing my Analyze skill had provided me with the ability to see exact numbers on other types of weapons as well. Looking at the many things I had stashed away in storage provided me with a rough idea of how weapons were tiered based on their values. I ended up loosely defining them as follows. Inferior weapons, attack, 50 to 150, durability, 30 to 200, MP, none. Common weapons, attack, 150 to 300, durability, 200 to 400, MP, none. Uncommon weapons, attack, 300 to 600, durability, 400 to 700, MP, none. Rare weapons, attack, 600 to 900, durability, 700, 1100, MP, varies. Legendary weapons, attack, 900 plus, durability, 1100 plus, MP, varies. The guidelines derived from my observations dictated that Zayn was effectively on the tier of a legendary blade. I wonder how strong the hero's sword is. Probably about the same, actually. I wasn't able to figure anything out last time I saw her cause it was co-blocking me with some sort of enchantment, but with my stats the way they are now, I think I might actually be able to check it out anyway. Come on now. Where the hell are you? Whatever happened to coming over and hanging out and stuff? Though I was curious, I wasn't actually all that hung up on how Na compared to Nell's holy blade. The plan was to make her the world's most powerful sword, and as it stood, Na was still on the weaker end of weapons in her tier. I was planning to keep beefing her up regardless. She's growing up so fast. Enchanting Zayn had been today's goal, but I figured that I might as well slot a few circuits into the ring that Leffy had given me while I was at it. After a moment's consideration, I ended up deciding to give the ring the magic and regeneration buffs. The regeneration one seemed particularly useful. It would cause my HP to automatically recover so long as I had the ring equipped. Combining its effect with my now inflated health pool turned me into one hell of a tank. Hey, looks like I'm getting a good bit stronger too. Alright Na, you wanna go see how much stronger you are now? I can't wait. Then let's do this. I holstered the red and black blade on my shoulder and set a course for the great outdoors. Leffy, I'm stepping out for a bit. Very well. I shall inform the others. With that said, the dragon casually waved in my direction and saw me off.